Hey guys, I've got good news and I've got pretty bad news as well. The good news is I figured out how to generate ore procedurally in WorldGen version 2.0. The bad news is Hytale currently only uses WorldGen 1.0 for its default world. That sucks. Unfortunately, that means we're going to have to use creative mode and a few op commands to make it accessible to your server or your single player game. That's okay. It's a little jank, and I'm sure there's a solution in Java plugins on the way. Unfortunately, I don't have Java experience, so I can't give those to you. Instead, today I'm going to show you how to do it through asset data. So we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. As usual, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open the asset editor and the asset node editor. We're going to be using both today. Oh, let me go ahead and relaunch that. So you're going to go ahead and make your mod, and you're going to go ahead and make the ore you want to spawn. You can use a default ore that you want to spawn in a different location or more of. Let's say maybe you want to do mithril or more adamite or whatever. Or you can go ahead and create your own ore. If you don't know how to create an ore, I have a wonderful video about how to add blocks into the game. There's going to be one difference from that video though. In the actual ore, cold iron, basalt, shale, slate, stone, and volcanic, there is one key difference in these block types. Under this section of code right here, you're gonna find the type single item, item ID, and then it's gonna have whatever your original ore you copied it over from. So if you used adamite as your base, or cobalt or iron as your base ore, you need to switch that in this area with your new ore name, and that would just be whatever you named it down here, right? Whatever this is, your base ore. This is how it drops both the stone and the ore itself. This is how it does it through this little line of code right here. Once you've got that done, we're gonna move on to the actual world generation, and that can be found in your Hytale read-only files. And you're just gonna go into Hytale generation, biome assets, plains 1 oak. You're gonna go ahead and click on that, and you're gonna overwrite this asset. You're just gonna hit create and let it be. We don't actually edit that one, but I want to show you it later on in the video to show you how powerful World Gen 2.0 is. It's very powerful and it's very strong, and when it gets here, when it's fully finished, it's gonna be so easy to mod and add your own custom biomes and everything too. It's gonna be literally just changing a few things and you'll have a whole new biome. But for now, we're going to add our other thing, which is if we just type iron into our bar up here, and we make sure we're on the Hytale read only, we're going to scroll down until we find plains 1 iron. Once we have that, we're going to go ahead and click it, and we're going to override this asset. And it's going ahead and create us a new one. And once we have it, you can copy the path, and then you're going to pull it up in your Hytale world. I already have it pulled up here. It's the same location as we went to last time. You just find your mods folder, you go to server, Hytale generation, biomes, plains 1. Actually, nope, sorry. Hytale assignments, plains 1, and then you find this. You go ahead and come up here and you copy this. And the next thing you're going to do is head on over to your node editor. Once you have your node editor open, you're going to press open, and you're going to paste it into this top bar up here. And it's going to open what we need. You just double click on this, and it's going to open. And immediately, you're going to be overwhelmed. None of this makes sense. A lot of it's broken. It's not displaying things properly, but it's okay. We only need it for a few things. But I am going to try to parse it to you as best I can. The first thing you're going to see is this. All this is telling you what we're working on. This is the file we're working on, Plains Iron 1. As well, and over here on the right side, you will see everything that can be plugged into this file, right? So we have a few things plugged into it. We have iron and we have copper. Right here is the weight. The weight is what tells you how common this thing is. How common copper is at a 20% weight. All right. This right here is how we put props into the world through a density. And it has a lot of plugins. It has a pattern, a scanner, a density, a material, a range, and a placement mask. It's a lot of crap. A lot of it doesn't make sense right now, and it probably won't make sense until the full release. I can try to tell you as best I understand it. The pattern, I believe this is how the game tells what base block to make the ore. So if it's surrounded by marble, it puts a base marble block. If it's surrounded by stone, it puts a base stone block. I believe this is the pattern that it tells this in, right? This is how it tells whether it's the what to make the base block, right? The scanner, I think, is just scanning the world, looking at the world and telling us about the world. The density is the actual math behind placing things like ore veins and things like that, how often they happen and stuff like that, like how the veins actually look, right? Um, this right here, which is going to be the material, is the actual material of the. This is actually placing the item that we made earlier in our assets, the cold iron ore, into the like. It's actually telling it that that's what we want to place, right? So this one would be iron ore because we're in the iron. This last one is how I think this data up here is applied. I think this is applied as a mask from up here. Okay? I don't think the actual block is changed. I think it's like a weird texturing mask thing that they're doing. Anyway, you don't need to know any of that for this. I just thought it would be good to tell you. All you need to know is you left click drag, you press Control C, and then Control V. Oop. Grab too much there. Control C, Control V. I don't know why it's making two of them. Is there two here? Not sure what's going on here. I guess we'll just have to delete one of these. I don't know what. Alright, so once you have one of them here, just drag it over. You're going to grab this little orange thing right here, and then scroll out, and then scroll back in down here, and just connect it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take this weight, and you're going to change it to 40. You're going to go up here to copper, and you're going to change that to 40. Ideally, you want this to be 100%. You don't want it to be more or less than 100%, right? That way, the math all evens out. So we have 100% weight in total. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna look at your asset editor, and you're gonna look at what your stone ore is called, and you can go ahead and just grab that, copy and paste it right into here. Just so you can see where it is, it's going to be right in here. You're going to hit File, Save. You have now saved this as a third ore in this plains biome, right? After you do this, you're going to turn everything off. You're going to shut off Hytale. You're going to close this window. You're going to go ahead and close your asset editor, and you're going to quit to desktop on your Hytale world. So once you've closed Hytale, you can go back into your worlds, go into WorldGen, and boot your world back up. Now, if you go ahead and go to collisions and disabled and go down here, you're going to notice something really quickly. Hey, my ore is not showing up. There's no cold iron down here, boss. I think something went wrong, and that's because Hytale uses generation 1.0 right now. It doesn't use the new generation to make worlds, which is frustrating, but just what it is. So how do we actually see this iron ore? Well, you're going to have to go up here. Well, the first thing we should probably do is we're actually going to set a warp. We're going to call this our default dimension. You can call it whatever you like, But just know that everyone on your server is going to have to use this to get to this dimension, right? We're then going to go up here to our creative tools. We're going to go to world. We're going to instances. In this instance, we're going to find zone 1, planes 1. And we're going to spawn it. This will take a minute, depending on your computer performance. But eventually it will load. And I will say this. For some reason, when I first started doing this, the worlds would fully crash. Like, fully crash my PC. I don't know why. They stopped doing it after I reinstalled the game. But just be warned. Evidently, there is a big problem with these. Which, it's early access, so that happens. Since we have collisions back on, we'll just go ahead and disable that. And we're going to fly on down in here. And you'll notice already, we have ore generated in our world. I can't explain to you how happy this makes me. I know it's jank. I know it's in a world that isn't our default world. But I have spent days on this problem trying to figure it out and not understanding why things don't work. And like trying to edit and source files and stuff like that. It just... Like, I've had to reinstall Hytale, but I finally got ore to generate. It's jank, but hey, it works. And you could just use this as a mining dimension for your server with your friends or even your single-player world. Maybe, see, this is what I mean. Sometimes the server crashes. I don't know why. And it only happens on single-player. I did this on my friend server, went to this dimension, and it works perfectly fine. It seems to be single player worlds that have the most difficult time with this. But yeah. So how do we get back? Well, what you're gonna do is you're gonna set a warp in this dimension, right? So set your warp, set mining dimension. And then you can do /warp list. And you'll have your mining dimension here and your default dimension here. And if you just click your default dimension, you head right back in to the Hytale regular dimension, right? Obviously, this means that anyone who plays on your server will need to be opt so they can use the warp function. But other than that, it works perfectly fine. And if you wanted to, what you could do is you could create a whole mod pack or mod based around these dimensions. You could edit them and you could add new mobs to them and make them difficult. That way, there's a reason there's a new special ore there, right? And you have, the cool thing is, right, is that you have 4 of them built in. 4 of them are already made. So you have 4 dimensions, you could put 4 new ores in. And you can actually make more of these as well. Obviously, that's a lot more complicated, but it's really just like copying these instances that are already made, like all the files that make them, and then like making a new one, right, out of it. So like you could make an infinite number of dimensions with like their own unique things in them. And that's in the future how Hytale, I believe Hytale is like moving to like a planet-based system rather than a like multiple biome system. I'm not completely sure on that, but yeah. So that's how you put ore generation into Hytale. Unfortunately, it's 2.0 generation, and we have to do a little jank. But it's in, and you have ore. And you can make it work on your server or your single player. Because you can go, even if you're not in creative mode, right? Even if you're in survival mode, you can still /warp lists or list, and you can warp, even in survival mode. Now, I have to be opt. I'm opt. But you can still do it and go back and forth. You could just treat it as a little sorry, I had a brain fart there. You could just treat it as like a mining dimension. I believe you could even go as far as modding in a portal for it, which I haven't done, but maybe that will be one of my next videos. If you look up portals, there's these portals in the game, and we could work about we could work on modding a portal that takes you from your mining dimension back and forth, right? There's a lot of ways you could go about it, right? and I just wanted to show it off to show that it's possible, because I know I've seen a ton of people asking how to do this, and like the unfortunate answer of it, the way to do it properly is through Java plugins, right? Like using a .jar file to like edit source code and stuff. But I don't know Java, and a lot of people don't know Java, and you require like advanced knowledge to make a plugin. And I wanted to give people who might not have that advanced knowledge a way to do this, right? Because I just felt really upset that that people couldn't get it to work. Anyway, the next part of this video, I want to show off how powerful this node system is, right? Because if we go back into this node editor right here, and we go ahead and open our other thing here, in our Hytale generator, our biomes, plains, oak. Oh, didn't mean to open it that way. If we go file, open, right here, this one is far more complicated, right? But this is that zone that we went to, that instance we went to. This is it. This is the generation for it. This is how it works. Super complicated, but luckily the Hytale devs have given us nice, clean labels that show us what everything does. So what we were editing was right here, the iron ore. How do we... So these little instances, or whatever they are, not instances, but these little like squared off things, each one of these is like an item in our world gen. Think of it that way, like a prefab in our world gen. So anytime you see this assignments right here linked into something else like this right here, it means that there's another file, right? There is another file by this name. We saw it earlier. We edited this file. But anytime you see a link like this into this green that says imported assets, there's a file somewhere in your files that it's linking to. And usually that one holds like the actual block data, right? So like you saw that we actually replaced it with our block data. That's what this usually means, right? And you'll notice that like a lot of these have it. The boulders, the oak trees, the plains grasses, the cave moss has it. Like all of these have like things you can go edit. And if you wanted to make your own, right, hedges, for example, or flowers, you would just copy this, paste it over here, put your own new flower type. Then you would go, you do the same thing we did, but for flowers, right? Like this is super powerful. And then we have up here, these are different than the assignments. These are like how the hills look. This is the math behind like how the generation slopes, right? So if we look around, right, in our warp list, if we look around in this, right, like how these generate going up and down and then like down again, right? This is noise. This is called Perlin noise, or they might use a different type of noise, but it's essentially the same thing. And this is how you edit that, right? These normalized densities, these complex ones right here, the height, this right here, the curve point in and out. Like this is how you edit that, right? And if you, I'm gonna leave a link in the description for a blog post where you can see the devs actually live updating these values. I don't know how they did it live, but they were live updating these values, and you can see exactly like what moving what does, right? Super helpful. It got me a long way in this of like parsing this, but I highly recommend taking a look at the blog post below. But yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to make this video because I've noticed like a huge like disappointment, or like that's not the right word, but like discouragement from the modding community because they can't figure things out. And a lot of it is just because it's not implemented, but there are workarounds. They can be crude and crass, but there are ways of getting around it and like getting things done, right? And we're in the early days and we only have things to look forward to, right? Like, and in doing things now isn't going to take away from the future. Like the problem solving skills you learned right now will help you in the future when these systems are updated. Because if think about it this way, like what I just taught you about the node system, like how when they do implement biomes, the new generation into the world, obviously it's going to look different than it does now. But knowing what things looked like in the past will inform you for the future way more than if that was the first time you saw the node system, right? So don't be discouraged that things aren't working properly. Don't take that as, oh, I shouldn't try anymore, right? Because the knowledge you gain now will help you immensely in the future, right? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it wasn't too rambly and that like it got the point that I was trying to get across. I wanted to thank everyone for the huge support the channel has right now. And I plan on making a encompassing mod, I guess you would say, like tutorial. I want to make an item and some armor based off of this cold iron ore. Like how some armor and maybe like a axe or something, or like a tool set based off of it. And I want to show you guys how to do that in a tutorial style. And maybe we'll even try to get that portal working that I was talking about earlier. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that nonsense, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.